You won't believe what happened the night a lonely millionaire heard laughter echoing upstairs in his mansion. He froze at the bottom of the staircase, his heart racing, because laughter had been missing from that house for years. And when he climbed those steps to see what was going on, what he saw stopped him cold. His maid was dancing in the moonlight with his disabled daughter. Before I take you into this incredible story, if you love emotional, real-life stories that touch the heart, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss what's coming next. The story begins with a man named Richard Evans, a self-made millionaire who had built his empire brick by brick. From the outside, he had everything: a sprawling mansion, luxury cars, a business empire admired by many. But behind the thick walls of his mansion lived silence, a silence so deep that it swallowed the man whole. His wife had passed away years ago, and his only daughter, Lily, was born with a condition that left her unable to walk. She was bright, loving, and kind-hearted, but Richard buried himself so deep in work that he forgot how to live, and Lily grew up in the shadows of loneliness. Every day, Richard left early, came home late, and carried the weight of his empire on his shoulders. The staff in the mansion rarely saw him smile, and Lily spent most of her time in her room upstairs with her books, her drawings, and her quiet thoughts. Though she never said it, what she longed for most wasn't toys or riches, but the warmth of her father's presence. Richard loved his daughter more than life itself, but his way of showing love was through money, gifts, and making sure she never lacked comfort. What he didn't see was that what Lily truly lacked was laughter, connection, and family. One evening, after an exhausting day, Richard stepped into his mansion. He loosened his tie, poured himself a drink, and sat in silence, the way he always did. But suddenly, he heard something that made him pause. Laughter. Genuine, light, musical laughter, coming from upstairs. At first, he thought he imagined it, because Lily rarely laughed these days. His heart pounded as he set down his glass and slowly climbed the grand staircase. At the top, the laughter grew louder, mixed with music. He pushed open Lily's door and froze. The room was glowing with soft lamplight, and there in the center was his daughter Lily in her wheelchair, smiling brighter than he had ever seen. Standing beside her, spinning her gently in a dance, was Maria, the young maid who had been working in the mansion for only a few months. Maria held Lily's hands, twirling her chair to the rhythm of a small Bluetooth speaker. They were laughing, they were alive, they were happy. For a moment, Richard felt a sharp sting in his chest. Not anger, no. It was something else. Something he hadn't felt in years. It was the ache of realizing how much joy he had missed in his own home. He stood there in silence until Maria noticed him. Her smile vanished instantly, and she let go of Lily's hands, stepping back nervously. "Sir, I'm sorry," she stammered. "We were just..." But before she could finish, Lily looked up at her father with those innocent, glowing eyes. "Daddy, isn't this fun? Maria was teaching me how to dance. I've never felt so happy." Richard's throat tightened. He wanted to say something, but no words came out. Instead, he turned and left the room quietly, his mind spiraling. That night, he lay awake thinking about what he had seen. Why was it that a maid, a stranger, could bring out the happiness in his daughter that he, her own father, couldn't? Why had he been so blind to her loneliness? The next morning, Richard sat at the breakfast table waiting for Maria. When she entered, her eyes lowered nervously, he gestured for her to sit. "Maria," he said quietly, "tell me, how did you make her laugh like that?" Maria hesitated but then spoke from the heart. "Sir, Lily doesn't need much. She doesn't want riches or things. She just wants someone to see her, to talk to her, to laugh with her. She wants to live, not just exist." Those words cut Richard deeper than any business failure ever could. He excused himself and walked out to the garden, standing under the tree where he used to sit with his wife years ago. Tears he hadn't shed in a decade welled in his eyes. For the first time, Richard realized the true meaning of wealth. What good was all his money if his daughter's laughter was absent from his home? That evening, Richard did something unthinkable. He cancelled his business meetings, set aside his phone, and joined Maria and Lily in her room. At first, he felt awkward, out of place, like a stranger in his own daughter's world. But as the music played again, he put his hands on Lily's wheelchair and whispered, "May I have this dance?" Lily's eyes widened with joy. "Yes, Daddy," she squealed. And together, with Maria guiding them, Richard spun his daughter around the room. For the first time in years, the walls of that mansion echoed not with silence, but with laughter, deep, heartfelt, healing laughter. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Richard changed. He began spending more time at home, eating dinners with Lily, reading her stories,